Masters.
Good evening.
A wonderful geography lesson, wasn't it? How many of you think so? I actually felt, having gone back to my school, studied the geography lesson and listening to my teacher, the only difference is that then it was such a boring one, but today I found it a very interesting one. The way you began with, especially the story about the continent being a single mass of land. Does anybody here know what is the name of that single mass piece of land? I didn't Google. The moment he told me, it struck me. I could still recollect what I studied in school. What is the name of that single piece mass of land? It's called
Eurasia.
It's called Pangaea. It was called Pangaea. So it was a one single piece of land, and then due to continental movements and the mantle beneath it, it was cracked into multiple pieces and spread across the globe to what we see presently today. And it is very interesting. You can go back to the map and you can actually verify that each and every continent you can actually fit back together just like a jigsaw puzzle, and it can still form a single piece of land. And the other point which you have mentioned about the Himalayan mountain range, which is rising a centimeter every year, is also a very informative one. So you began with a very informative content, and that brought a lot of awareness into the crowd. The other interesting points which I made was that there was so much of clarity in your speech. You did not stammer, you were not reluctant in sharing those facts. Usually when people speak on facts, they go reluctant. So that actually shows the amount of preparedness you had made for the speech. And you spoke about the types of the people who stays in the mountain range, how their appearance are, and people who stay at the plateau, how their appearance are. These are all wonderful information to share. Indeed, we could see the difference in the people, in their body, etc. just by crossing the states. Just you cross the border, you can very distinctly make the difference of what type of people they are and what language they speak, most of the time. You had a good command over the language and you were very confident on the stage, and there was a good eye contact. A good eye contact is the kind when you look into the audience and you speak, every audience will feel that you are actually speaking directly to him. So we were able to connect that way to your speech. Now, what are the areas which you could improve? You began by saying that, the title first, the wonder India is. And you mentioned controversial India. So what controversy is that? So that began with negativity in the speech. The moment you said that for some it could be controversial, what was it controversial? Are you talking about freedom of speech, or are you talking about diversity issues? So what issue was that? But you never entered into that. So you just left it blank, and there was always a hole in that subject. And then you quoted Hindi quotes in multiple places. I don't think everybody really understands Hindi, and those who don't understand Hindi will not be able to connect. Frankly speaking, I don't know Hindi. I am the evaluator, unfortunately, and I'm not able to really connect what you meant in those statements. So it's better, it's fine to use Hindi statements, but it's better if you could translate and also quote what it really means in English. And now, stage movement. I understand that you have very limited space, but then at certain places you could have used a little stage movement. For example, you mentioned about 4 points, about 4 regions like plateau, plain, coastal system, etc. You could have made some stage movements. So stage movement is not something you can do it on the fly. You should have thought about it a little bit and practiced a little bit. So that should have been incorporated in the speech. And regardless of what type of speech it is, what content it is, if you could add a little humor to it, it will definitely uplift the speech. So humor was completely lacking here. Though it was a very factual-based speech, you could still incorporate some humor, right? For example, when you started off with the controversy in India, that could have been translated into a different way and expressed with a little humor. That would have attracted the crowd in the beginning itself. You could have hooked the audience in the first line itself. Now, what would you do to improve this entire speech? The title you have given was The Wonder India Is. But I think you failed to identify what that wonder is. All the points which you have mentioned about the geographical facts or the difference in the people are all available in every single nation. You go to US, you will find it. You go to Africa, you will find it. Indeed, Africa has much more uniqueness than India. So what was it that India stands out to call it wonder? If you could have highlighted that point, that would have taken your speech to a greater altitude. Just one.
Thank you, Jawahar.
Thank you.
For the excellent evaluation. It's always a pleasure to listen to you and your evaluation. Very positive too. That's great. Let's give a round of applause to Jawahar. So Toastmasters and guests. In fact, guests are outnumbering our Toastmasters today. So how do you feel that 1.5 hour journey which we had today? Did it take you to higher altitude?
Yes.
Wow, so that's a taste of pudding is in eating, that's what they say. So how did that was possible? Initially, pre-meeting arrangements, the way it was arranged over here, it's a common space, but way entire thing had to be done thanks to our office bearers over there, Deepa and our Sergeant of Arms, the way they did, the blackboard, everything was done as if it's a meeting is on, and with a camera also there. So all recording. It was very professionally organized in a place which is not supposed to be a conference room. It's a unique thing which you'll see normally. I think we are the only one of the Toastmasters where we are having in a place with open space is there. So that was beautifully arranged. Of course, the time was 5 o'clock, but since we knew a lot of guests are already coming, so that was the prerogative which the presiding officer took and said, okay, let's extend the time by 4 minutes, and we started at 5:04. Beautifully done. And then our Sergeant of Arms, Srinu, came. The way he started with the quote and the activities, and then giving those important suggestions. Why should you keep your mobile off? What is the reason? So it was nicely explained. And the activity was the most energetic thing. So that set the ball rolling. And he has a unique activities every time. So that's a beautiful thing. So let's give a round of applause to Sergeant of Arms. And while continuing with Srinu, then he also introduced the presiding officer, the detail what she does, what is her unique things, and it was apt. So sometimes what we do as to introduce, we say something which is not correct, whereas here it was to the point. So that was also very nicely highlighted, so we knew what the attributes of a presiding officer are. And presiding officer, so when she came over here, Deepa, she was at ease. Attire, everything was spick and span. So that is what is required by presiding officer. She is the senior most officer of the meeting. So her entire demeanor was beautifully and very, at the same time, very polite and very approachable. And that's what she started with. Since when she saw that there are so many guests, she asked each of the guests to introduce briefly about them. So that also put the entire guest into the meeting. So that was excellently handled by her. So let's give a good round of applause to her. And she also highlighted the importance of the theme of the day. So what is the importance of meeting? So that was really, because that's the theme of the day itself was what is in your mind. That excellently shared with her, by her. And then her job was to introduce the Toastmaster of the day, Group 7. So she went back to when she came and the entire thing, the background, the high thinking and simple living. So that was exactly matching with what the Toastmaster Day Group 7 was today. So that was what she highlighted, and the baton was handed over very smoothly to the Toastmaster of the day, Group 7. Here comes Group 7. Then he gives a nice story, adding significance of the theme of the day, and then giving the background of the entire sessions which are required. That was also beautifully highlighted by him. So that was, and one excellent thing which I liked about Group 7, he did a lot of studies. So every person he introduced, whether it was general evaluator or speaker or the evaluators, he had made a study of them and introduced them in a perfect manner. So people got a hang of what the gentleman who is coming here or the lady who is coming over here, what he or she is. So that's very critical for the Toastmaster of the day, or what we call as the MC or the Sutradhar, because he is the second energy after the Sergeant of Arms. He's the person who has to pull the energy continuously. And every time after the session, he has to give a background. So that was excellently done by him. And he came prepared. And he kept on highlighting those theme of the day once in a while. Every time, some new anecdotes. So he himself had a prepared speech behind up the sleeves, and he was pulling it one by one like a magician, coming out and sharing that. Excellent. So let's give a lot of applause to those. After the presiding of the great speech is over, then was the time for theme of the table topic. So before that also, I would like to highlight one unique thing which our club only has. We have a dedicated evaluator, but here the Toastmaster Day ensured that 1 minute was given after every prepared speaker had given his speech, and everyone was an evaluator. So that was also pulling all the audience into the meeting. They could share their feedback. So that was also, because I have not seen that in any other Toastmasters meeting. It's a very unique thing, and it's very keeps the audience engaged. Because they also become a good listener. Because as the importance of a good speaker, he should be also a good listener and a good leader. So all these things also, for a good leader, he has to be a good listener. So that skills of listening automatically comes when you have to give a feedback in 1 minute quickly. So that was also beautifully done by the table topic on the theme of the Toastmaster Day Group 7. Then coming to our table topic master, Sinu Babu. The way he comes with his personal experience, why the importance of Toastmaster, what he had previously, how he used to run away from his boss, though he was knowledgeable, as beautiful, or he has good knowledge about his subject matter expert. But in spite of that, he used to always avoid in professional forum, to avoid meeting his manager, even to highlight what he was doing. But now, because of thanks to Toastmasters, this is what he is able to do it. So this was also a message to all the new guests, all the upcoming Toastmasters, or would-be Toastmasters, that the importance and significance he highlighted. And then he highlighted the importance of the table topics. What happens, like that anecdote which he shared. So you were preparing for the third day for the one-to-one, now suddenly it was called, and then you are blank what to say. So that was also excellently done. And any session which you want to succeed, preparation is very critical. He was a table topic master, so he came with topics, very apt topics. And that was the way he bought this box, like you're opening a Pandora's box, and each one was opening, and he invited everyone. He gave floor was open. The way he made everyone relaxed, thanks to the right from the beginning till end. Even the guests started raising their hand. So it was a unique thing today. It was guests. I think couple of hardly only except for because no other club Toastmasters spoke today. So that was also, I think, this must be the first time we must be having. So let's give a good round of applause today. So that is also, I've seen, like guests also coming here, just standing for a minute and then saying, okay, I can't speak today, but what they had that feeling that, okay, this is their home. They can come here, they can attempt to speak. That is the first step taken. Even they say, no, it's in your mind. So that mind is getting open. Maybe next time when we hear them, they'll be much more polished and they'll be much more interesting. So that was, entire thing was beautifully done. So I really enjoyed today. So now I will request my tag team to give the inputs. So timer, can you come and highlight your importance, the time and the